Hey there, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a voiceover tutorial giving you some of my favorite lip blush tips and tricks. If that sounds interesting to you, keep watching. And if you need more information on our lip blush training, check out the description box. So in this video, I'm just going to be talking over my procedure. This is a model from one of my one-on-one lip blush classes, and I'm going to be sharing with you the products that I use and my tips and tricks. So if you're new to the industry and you're thinking about taking a lip blush class, or if you're an experienced artist and you're looking to get better with your lip blush, or maybe just see how other people do things, this would be a great video for you. So at this point, I'm removing the numbing gel. I like Meso Numb, and I apply that and leave it to the lips for 30 minutes before we begin the procedure, although there are tons of great numbings that work. And then once I remove that, I'm gonna go in and we're gonna start to begin to design her lips. So I like to do my consultations at the beginning of the appointment and select the color with my client, go through everything before we begin the numbing. And this is because I like to do my outline after the numbing so my numbing gel doesn't remove or lighten it. And I wanna make sure that I'm doing as much as I can before the numbing so the numbing doesn't start to wear off if we talk too much after I wipe it off. So at this point, she's really numb, but we've already selected the color. I'm gonna show you guys that later in the video. And I'm just creating an outline here. So I do wanna share a couple of things, the pencil I'm using and my approach to lip design. So the pencil that I'm using here is a NYX pencil. You can get that at Walgreens or any drugstore, and it's just a regular red pencil. You just need something that's going to be creamy and stay put. I don't like gel pens. I do know some people use them and they definitely have a place. It's just not for me, but this is the red pencil that I'm using. What I'm showing you here in the video is you can see that there is a space where clients are gonna have lip tissue, but it's not really well defined, and you're going to have to decide if you're gonna go over that or if it's going to be an area of skin that really was never intended to be part of their lips in the first place. And that is really important to consider because we want to make sure that we're not tattooing regular facial skin. You will know that you're not on the lip tissue anymore when you're touching it and it doesn't feel as soft or tender. Real facial skin feels thicker and drier, and you will see that you're no longer tattooing lips when you go to work, or in your after photos you'll notice that there is a heavy line or like splotchiness, and that is a sign that you've gone too far off the lip tissue. So I really would recommend that you avoid that. One thing you'll notice about my lip design, and maybe others that you might have seen online, on social media, it's not super perfect. I don't think that that's necessary. I don't think you need to spend an hour making the thinnest line. You just want to be able to see where you're going. Also, my approach to lip design is I'm trying to work on making the lips look as natural as possible, and any enhancements should be super natural. So if you're having to work really hard at coming up with a design, it would at least give you reason to pause and think, am I maybe not making these as natural as possible? Now this step here is super optional, but you can use a white pencil to trace around the exterior of your lip outline. And this really isn't for the client, and you're not gonna tattoo it. It just helps to highlight your border. Again, really optional, but it can really help you to see better. I love doing it in the Cupid's bow area. I think that's where it's most helpful, but you could do it completely all around the lip and make it as thick as you want, because again, it's not the tattoo outline you're gonna use, it's just highlighting your outline. Now, once you've got the perfect shape, you're gonna set your client up, triple check your work, and then get their approval. So we've already done that in her case, and we both have noticed and agree that we're gonna let her natural Cupid's bow stay in its place. Her Cupid's bow on one side is a little bit higher than the other, and trying to forcefully correct that would require me to tattoo onto her lip tissue on one side, where we run the risk of maybe having a darker spot on one side than the other, or having it look too lined. So we've elected to keep them close, but not make the Cupid's bow too perfect, in an effort to keep her lips looking as natural as possible. So she's approved it, and we've now begun the tattooing process. So you'll notice right now that I have a tight stretch on each section of the lip that I'm working on. And throughout the video, you're gonna see my hands move along her lips so that I can keep her lips stretched as tightly as possible for the best results. On my first pass of lip blush, I have two goals. The first one is to secure my outline, because again, that's pencil and that is not gonna last me very long. So I wanna make sure that I don't lose my shape. And the second goal is to make sure that I get enough channels open into the skin so that I can apply a secondary numbing and get my client more comfortable. And the reason for that is if my client is uncomfortable, or if I don't have my outline, I'm gonna have a bad outcome, and I'm not going to be able to take my time and really focus on what I'm doing because I have a client that's flinching and just not enjoying the procedure. procedure. So this is my first goal, and that's what I would recommend you focus on for this first pass. Okay guys, I have a huge tip for you that's going to help your clients stay more numb. In between passes, apply more numbing, and when you do that, place a piece of plastic wrap on top of their lip that you're not working on. That way, while you work on the other lip, the one that's waiting doesn't continue to unnumb while it's waiting. And the plastic wrap just helps to prevent the numbing from making your hand slip. I hope you guys are taking notes because this video is jam-packed with like every tip I can think of. So next I want to talk to you a little bit about the speed that I'm using on my machine and my hand movement. So I am going to always use my machine somewhere between a 6 and 7 speed, and I use a Zion S or Balar. In this video, I'm using the Balar from Microblading. I will include my links in the description box below with a discount code. If you guys want to save 10% off, you will be able to use my code to do that. But I use the speed between 6 and 7, and then I want my hand movement to be relatively quick so that I can make sure I'm not getting any banding and my pixels will blend together. Next, I want to talk to you about the machine movement itself. In order for this to be light and airy and pixely, you're going to need to be really light-handed with your machine. So in order to do that, I would recommend using your index finger or whatever finger you're really driving the pen with only to move the machine, as opposed to a lot of wrist and forearm movement. If you do that, you're going to accidentally find yourself working too heavy. And one of the ways you can check your pressure is to practice on a balloon. See if you're popping the balloon or if you're really working so lightly that you're barely tapping that balloon, and that will help you make sure your pressure is correct. So 2 passes in, let's take a look at what she looked like before and then how she's looking 2 passes in, and you can already see that there is a lot of color that's starting to build up. I would just recommend that if you're going to use the traditional lip blush watercolor techniques, remember that it's a slow, gradual build. Don't rush the process and don't expect to see tremendous difference with each pass because it's supposed to be light and airy. Next, let's talk about passes. I use a single needle and it's very small, so it takes a lot of passes to really build that color up if I'm being as gentle as I would like. So I typically do about 4 passes, although it could be a little less if they want something more subtle, or a little more if they were going for something really bold, or if they have really big lips. Now, there are all kinds of amazing artists that do beautiful, beautiful work with all different types of needle configurations. So there's no right or wrong way, but my preference is to use the single needle technique, but to be as gentle as possible so we don't create too much trauma. So let's go ahead and revisit what she was looking like again when she came in before the procedure, and then here's how she's looking after about 3 passes. You can already see again the color continuing to build, and we're gonna go back in and do another pass. The last thing I want to cover in the video before I go as far as my tips is the ink line. I love a lot of ink lines, but my preferred ink line right now is Permablend. And in her case, we are using French Fancy, which is like one of my favorite pinks. So if you're interested in what French Fancy looks like on a lip tone like her, that is what I've shown you here in this video. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I hope it was really helpful. If you thought it was helpful, I would love it if you would subscribe, like this video, and stay a while. Feel free to comment any questions that you have and reach out if you have any interest or questions about our lip blush training. See you next time.